who's to say exactly how much more PSI it's going to give you.
Right.
But it does make sense that with air, you know, like kind of like thumbing down a hose, right? If you constrict it, it's gonna hit you harder.
Yeah.
So where was I going with that? The shower head technologies are going to get pretty soon into like the nebulizing state where they're going to try to mist, but it's difficult because we need float, we need water, we need the water, and the mist doesn't really work all that well for washing yourself. But these manufacturers are coming out with interesting ideas of how to, at a very low flow rate, maybe even 0.5 gallons. How to still get a proper shower out of there.
Yeah.
So we're not quite there yet.
Right.
Because again, it's at this point you just kind of missed, but that's the idea. So I've got a couple of unique, like this thing's designed for washing or massaging your back, and so the water comes out in like a blade, as opposed to more like a cylinder. Little things like that.
What about sinks? What's the regulation on like a kitchen sink
okay, so
faucet?
A kitchen sink faucet is 1.8 gallons per minute, which is different than a bathroom faucet. The bathroom faucets are then at 1.2 gallons per minute.
Oh wow! So that's easy to remember. Toilet and faucet are closer together.
Yeah.
In the bathroom and in the kitchen. Okay. Kitchen and shower. Yeah.
So then, like
one thing with the shower heads. So because of Santa Barbara water being hard.
Yeah.
Then I find the more holes, the more challenge with scale interruption.
Yeah.
And replacing these heads and the complication. For me, it's
so really, I mean, I don't have a whole home softening system at my house, but I desperately need one. I feel like everybody should have one. Just Southern California has terrible hard water. It is no matter what, even if you have a whole home softening system, like guaranteed you're still going to have that issue. It just mitigates it so it's not as bad, but you'll never be cured. It's really bad. Okay, so I just moved up to the valley, and that has even harder water than here in Santa Barbara. And I do this professionally, but I didn't pick any of the plumbing stuff. My wife did. And I told her, like, don't pick black, because then that scale is going to look really, really white against the black, like no good. And she picked it because it looked good and it's on trend. But we've been there since July, and it looks like crap. It's like, you could tell it looks like it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like it's brand new stuff, and it's because we don't have a whole home softening system. But it's a hard sell. They're a little expensive. They are somewhat cumbersome in the sense that you have to then get bags of salt.
Yeah, I've got the Quell system, so I'll talk to you about it when you come to my house.
Well, out of the valley, Dana Harrison, she's amazing. Those are the systems that we recommend. So
But you're right. There's more to it, and they're expensive, but they do the job.
Right.
But we'll talk about they have the whole house, and they have an under sink RO and filtered water mix. It's pretty clever, you know.
So because you brought them up, they're one of the best water systems. So she built the systems to zip code, because everybody has different water in different zip codes, and like where do you get your water from? Is it from the municipality? Is it from the desal plant? Is it from like wherever it might be? So that's why we recommend her systems. One, she's local. Two, she builds into zip code.
Who is this?
A Quell water system.
Dana Harrison's in there. I used to have her come to this class and talk. So, I think we've got some videos of her that we could show.
I just know when you look at all these fancy fixtures, I always have to keep in mind, like, it might not last more than 10 years.
Right.
Well, that's what this system does, you know, somewhat, but it's our fixtures still get calcified, you know.
It mitigates it.
Yeah, it mitigates it.
And there's other forms, instead of using salt or potassium to prevent the scale molecules from clumping together and building little salt rocks. There's something called chelation that works with like a citrus enzyme or something like this. Apparently it's what like the Dodger Stadium uses or something. It seems a little gimmicky, snake oil stuff, but like we sell them. And there was a guy in Carpinteria, a farmer. He had like 5 different estates on his property, and he swore by them. And he was like, these work amazing.
Wow.
You need to tell people that this is where it's at. And it's crazy because it's like a small little tube, maybe not that big, but your main line, just screw that thing right in, and then to your house, and that's all the system does. And basically inside there is like a what do you call that? Like a gasket almost, or like a blanket in there, a sleeve, and the water passes through the sleeve and then comes through the other end with this citrus enzyme that doesn't allow the scale to complete itself and start flipping up. So it's interesting. So there's that.
Yeah.
You could do chelation.
Yeah.
No, so this thing just, it's hooked up into the main line so that water passes through this thing. Yeah. It's really small, and they say that, you know, depending on your water usage and the size of the home and all that stuff, they have different sizes and different ratings. Like, yeah, that membrane's going to be gone in like 6 months if you're going through 20,000 gallons, right, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. You don't have any hot water heaters on display, do you? That's
next door. Next door, I think they might. So
are they open?
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can go over.
Well, we've got a. Oh.
Yeah. Let's go over there.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Oh wow. Okay.
Tankless?
So no heat pump.
A heat pump.
Yeah, heat pump electric water heater.
That I'm not familiar with. I can speak to heat pumps as far as like laundry systems, but this is definitely like not my element, right? So okay, I thought we had an actual water heater right up there.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is like the real plumbing department. They sell copper 90s and know actually about plumbing. I'm more of like a product nerd where I can tell you what pretty stuff matches other pretty stuff. Right. So tankless water heaters, recirculating pumps, all of those things. I just bring the clients over here and we speak to the counter reps. We know everything about that.
We have YouTubes that we can do that with.
Yeah.
But the last thing I think we like to look at is the washers and dryers.
Yeah.
And do you sell any top loading washers anymore?
Yes.
Okay, because they're cheaper probably, right?
Well, some people prefer the deep soak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people prefer, like, I want my stuff to be really well washed. So those top loaders actually do the best job at getting your clothes clean, so much so though that they'll make them dingy.
Oh, okay.
The agitator,
yeah. Because in terms of water use, they're
not good.
Yeah, they're pumping front loading.
So, okay, actually I don't have any top loading on display. Front loading, there's these hybrid types now, right, that do both. So, and if you forgot something incidentally, like you can drop it in this little drop, right? Like, that's funny. This is the way that this brand is going. Samsung is very technology forward and like, let's give you more features. Let's give you more technology. Let's make it Wi-Fi capable.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, front loading. Typically, these come in two sizes. You got the European size, 24 wide, or the American size, 27 wide. And then if you're 27 wide, then you're really tall too, at like 39 inches and maybe like 34 inches in depth.
Wow.
The little European ones that are 24 wide are also 24 deep and like 34 tall. Really small, compact little things.
Because they put those in the kitchen sometimes, right?
So depending on which brand you pick, so
the Europeans.
Some of the European ones don't need to ventilate, and some of them do. So it's just sort of depend. Like the ones that go in a kitchen probably don't have ducting and are probably like an ASCO, which is Danish, or a Miele, which is German. Those units use heat pump technology to not need to breathe. They'll take all the moisture out of your clothes, run it over a heat pump, and continuously do that until the moisture evaporates. And they don't need to breathe at all. So you can put them in a closet that's exactly 24 by 24 by however tall they are.
Because you look at the shows, I mean, they have washers too, but they look at the shows and they're all in the European, the real estate shows, and the European countertops, they'll have all the Americans react to it. They go, what's the washer doing in the kitchen?
Yeah.
But you're right, you couldn't fit one of ours in the typical.
Right. So then over there too, I noticed, like in Italy, they had one. It's just one machine that does both.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a washer and then it's going to dry it.
Right.
It didn't do a good job. I think this is why most of the time in yours you got your clothes lines and stuff.
Yeah, we built a tiny home at school last few years, and at first we were going to buy appliances for it, and then we decided we'd let the customer buy them because they're very particular. And so we researched the dual dryer and washer, and no good reports on those.
None. It's true.
So we said, well, let's not put something in that's not going to work. We'll let people deal with it. People who buy a tiny home probably are more apt to do a clothesline anyway, right?
I agree. Yeah.
So, Yeah, that's interesting. You'd think they could, especially in Miele, you'd think they could perfect that, right?
I mean, they're almost there. They're almost there.
Yeah.
So their washer dryer is one of the best in
Yeah.
the industry as far as cleaning, as far as kind of the whole sustainability aspect is
Right.
interesting. Miele wants to take the ability to dump in detergent on our own away from us. Not necessarily they want to take it away, but that's the reason that these machines go bad, is that we over soap them. So they're so highly efficient
Oh, yeah.
that soap is going to be continuously used over and over and over and over and over to wash your stuff. But we are like, that's a lot of towels. I'm going to put this much detergent in there because that's what I'm used to. So now Miele has said, we're going to take that away from you and give you a hopper system where you just put your whole detergent bottle right into me, and then I'll figure out based on how fast you get wet. And when I do run that water through my sensors, there's a turbidity sensor that figures out how dirty it is. So if you're super dirty and super heavy, then I'm gonna run for this long at these cycles.
Wow.
And it'll also dose.
Americans gonna like that, not having control of it.
It'll dose the laundry perfectly so that you don't have any residual buildup in the gasket that leads to smelling, that leads to cracking and failure. So they are extremely good.
So would it have to be their soap, or would they have a?
It's their soap.
Yeah. So they could control the toxicity of the soap too that way.
Yeah, and apparently what I found out is there's only like 6 known cleaning enzymes to the human race so far, and most detergents use like 2 or 3. Miele uses all 6.
Wow.
Right, like crazy stuff. Interesting stuff.
So you said Miele is your top cleaning one?
Yeah.
Or Whirlpool?
No, Miele. I like Whirlpool Corporation, American brand, American made, Tennessee, Ohio. That idea. Maytag is actually probably their best foot forward in the laundry scheme because they're just tried and true, very trustworthy. The Maytag man, right? Everybody loves them.
Yeah.
But they have the longest warranty, direct drive motor, so no belt to wear out. And I think most importantly is people are like deathly afraid of technology in these things. Like I just want to change the button and then push it, and that's how I know how to do laundry.
Yeah.
I don't want an app. I don't want to do that stuff.
God.
So that's Maytag, just like a workhorse. Not a lot of fancy features, but the good ones that we want.
So all these manufacturers have a longevity amount that's realistic?
Sort of. So the warranties are usually really the same, like bumper to bumper, 1 year, right?
Really?
Most warranties, bumper to bumper, 1 year.
So does Miele have a higher one?
No, yeah, being that this set is like $2,000. A set from them is like $4,000. So
Right.
like why is that double the price? And it's even actually a smaller capacity.
But does it last twice as long?
Yeah, the reason is this thing's gonna have a 1 year bumper to bumper, and then the real integral part of this is like the motor. That's gonna have your 10-year warranty on it, right? So that's kind of how they skew those warranties.
Yeah.
The motor is like bulletproof, of course, but with Miele over there, they're gonna bumper to bumper you for a much longer time, right? So it's a more complete warranty.
Right. So also energy use, does that vary with these?
Yes, of course. So you would imagine that the top, energy in the sense that the larger the capacity, the more energy you're going to need to consume, which is why Miele is really smart in making a smaller unit. These you're only supposed to fill 2/3 of the way up. The Miele one, they're like, fill me all the way up. You could stuff a whole king size down comforter in that thing, and it's gonna wash it perfectly. Here, you can wash it just the same, but it's not going to take up the full cavity, and so now you have all that extra room, and it's going to take extra water and extra heating and extra space, right? And I think the other thing to imagine is you want the washer to actually dry your clothes. You don't want the dryer to dry your clothes. That would take forever.
Right. You want to spin them dry for a while.
Exactly, and that's where the Miele comes back and is like, we have a BMW motor in here, or whatever, right? So they're German is what I mean. But they have a much better RPM system where it's going to come out almost dry from the washer, and then you just throw it in the dryer to be warmed up, as opposed to getting them damp out of here and putting them in there, and now the dryer's on the hook to do all the work.
Right. So later on, we're going to look at this thing called green report card. It's one, and there's different green aspects to everything, and you have to like put them all together. So the Miele may be a better investment if you consider the energy use, the water use, the warranty. So you really have to consider all that together and not just jump at the.
What's the repair?
And the repair, yeah, that's another one.
So that's another good point where Miele is privately owned and operated by the same family, right? So their quality control is like second to none. That's on the same level as Sub-Zero Wolf. I kind of categorize them as the same, just that Miele is German, Sub-Zero Wolf is American, out of Wisconsin. Both of them, down to their motherboards. They make their own motherboards. They don't get just the same motherboard all the other manufacturers use because they want their things to do things differently. Like a steam oven would be, from a normal manufacturer, steam or oven, steam or oven. They made their motherboards to do steam and oven at the same time, or one at a time, right? So that's kind of the premium aspect of them. So yeah, they're double the price, but for good reason. They have all of these other features that, when combined, you're like, that's actually a much better value. So I'm going to pay more up front, but for instance, like the Miele stuff, like pilling and clothes getting dingy, it's from your washing machine washing your clothes too hard.